I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
I'm Beau Maddox.
This is Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from San Antonio, Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, be it blunts, be it bongs, be it joints, be it dabs. Y'all didn't see, but I was dabbing there.
Oh, that was terrible.
That was
Smoke
awful.
it if you've got it, and if you don't have it, well, don't smoke it.
Yeah, you're a loser if you don't have it. You're a loser if you don't have anything to smoke listening to any of our podcasts.
Happy Halloween, Collateral Gamers. Woo! We are here today in Section 9 Studios. We've got Beau Maddox as a special guest on this episode, although, I mean, Beau's on every episode.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the first time that I'm actually going to talk about a game, you know.
Exactly. As usual, we have Robert here as well.
Technically, I'm not available right now.
Technically. He's here, but he's not here.
Technically.
his
I
status
mean,
is invisible on Facebook.
There you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's the invisible user. The invisible hand.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, in any case, this Halloween, we're talking about something very special, and we're probably going to get into it right away because this is sort of a mini episode, Indy. What are we talking about, Dakota?
PT, the playable teaser for the hidden Silent Hills game.
For Silent Hills, which unfortunately has been canceled. So whatever PT was going to be or whatever it was hinting at no longer exists. That being said, PT is no longer available on the PlayStation Store. So we're going to do something we don't normally do on indie game reviews, and we're going to go full force. We have no problem with spoilers on this particular episode,
Oh, yeah.
given that you can't even play the game
You
anymore.
can't play. Yeah, there's no point.
Well, I say that, but some players have managed to remake the game and emulate it. So
And we actually kind of did that this episode. We played it before we worked it, and we actually used to have it on PS4, but we deleted it somehow, or it got deleted. Some weird situation happened. And
So, yeah, shortly after Silent Hills was canceled, PT was taken off the PlayStation Store. Now, it was kind of like the Flappy Bird situation. If you had the game still installed, you could still play it. You just couldn't download it from the store. And Dakota and I decided we were going to keep the game forever because we were in love with it.
oh yeah,
I mean, we played it over dozens of times. It was like our party favor. And, well, somehow it deleted itself. I don't know. I'm so disappointed.
Great job, dude. I mean,
Or maybe
fucking-
we were just on an accident, deleted it. We were trying to move space or something. I can't remember. I feel like I'd be careful about that though.
Hey,
I don't know.
Yeah.
that's a common thing on PlayStation consoles. I remember even back in the PS1 days, I lost a fucking save file for Final Fantasy VII that I'd been working on for almost 3 fucking years.
Yeah, but that's back when you were using memory cards.
yeah, but
I remember those times.
that's
memory
still
cards, man.
that
Shit.
still fucking pissed me off, man.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Oh, yeah, that would piss me off too. Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, that happened to me where I lost data. But yeah, PT, when did you first come into contact with this game, Beau?
Honestly, I never owned a PS4 or anything like that. It was pretty much exclusively by way of like word of mouth, like through magazines like Game Informer.
Right.
That was where I first really heard about the game, and I first saw the game in action on YouTube shortly after it was taken off of the internet and off the PS Store and everything. So,
Right.
I mean, I really, really liked the atmosphere, and I like how it's really influenced to horror gaming as a genre overall.
Oh, yeah. I really
Yeah.
love about it.
Yeah.
In particular, are the horror elements. And I think there's an additional element to horror video games that doesn't exactly exist in horror movies, which makes it, a perfect medium for the genre.
Absolutely.
In that,
Yeah.
you kind of have to push yourself forward.
You do. There's so many times in the game in which you have to. It's that you have to urge yourself to do something because you know how a horror movie works. You know everything. You
Yeah.
know when you're gonna look through the door and the crack, you're gonna see something freaky. But you have to do it because you know that's how you're gonna progress in the game. So it's a really
Yeah.
good way of doing that. Way better than a movie can express. You know.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it really can, and I really appreciate that. Just that complete sense of dread, just trying to make yourself move forward because you know at some point there's going to be a jump scare. And
Right.
so PT was kind of really my first experience with that because I'd not really played horror games before this.
I want to start getting into a lot more horror games, especially once we get our Oculus Rift. I want to do more VR horror. That's gonna be so much fun, dude.
Have you checked out like Duck Season or the Resident Evil 7?
I
VR?
played a couple Resident Evil games back in the day. I remember there was one released for the Wii. Actually, I played that one. I think it was like 5 or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about specifically for VR. Have you played any of
Well,
those?
I haven't played any VR before.
Oh, okay,
So
I
I would
gotcha.
know. Eventually, Ash and I are going to, pop in some money for our Oculus Rift. That's our plan. I want to
Eventually.
get a
Oh, okay.
good bundle so we can get a good one.
That would be badass. This game in VR would be insane.
Absolutely.
Oh, it would be
insane.
amazing. Yeah, seriously.
I mean, it's insane just having the surround sound in our headsets, just being able to hear everything. You know what's going on. It's so freaky, dude.
That was pretty surreal, man. I mean, the sound design on this game is really spot on, even in the remake that we played. Like, I mean, it sounded like he got most of the sound assets out from the actual files of the game and everything.
I think that's
Yeah.
all made by him. I think he made all those
He
sounds.
completely
I think
recreated.
he recreated all those sounds. Yeah, you told me it was
Yeah.
recreated everything.
Wow.
right? Because you
Yeah.
can't just like take the game.
It's possible some of them may have been ported over. I'm not sure. I mean, they sounded spot on. I think
it's
not
not-
all of them could have been remade.
Also, I mean, I'm sure they could have taken some recordings of it. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's so many YouTube recordings, and there's already better like raw cut something. I'm sure somewhere.
Do you think that the game assets to this are out there online somewhere? Like, I mean,
In some way, in some form or another. I know they've been recreated at
Yeah.
least.
yeah.
As far as the sound clips go, some of those may have been original, but yeah, from what I've heard, at least in one of the remakes we were looking at, all of the assets were completely remade, which is a testament to great design. But really, it also is kind of a testament to how great this original game was.
right?
What was really interesting about this is that when PT came out, nobody understood that it was a Silent Hill game. In fact, it really was kind of portrayed itself as an indie game. It was under a different studio name, 7780 Studio.
Right. Yeah. When you boot up the game, it tells you that you start
Yeah.
up. It says 7780 Studio, and then you get a background with a bunch of trees and a PT and little 7780s on the bottom.
Yeah, it's developed by Kojima Productions, but it's under the pseudonym 7780 Studio. Yeah, and like you said, it boots up. From what I've heard, apparently the game was scaled down in order to feel more like an indie game. So,
Wow.
in all likelihood, I guess it's technically not indie, but it definitely was positioned itself as an indie game. It was one of those titles that were free under the PlayStation Plus subscription. So, we checked it out. I was actually introduced to this by my friend Steven. And I had a little bit of background information, I think, when I started playing it. So, the big reveal at the end wasn't as big for me. But yeah, when you play through the game and you find the secret ending, which by the way is very difficult to get to, most people did not get on their first playthrough. You then find out as it pans out and shows Norman Reedus' face and shows Hideo Kojima's name and Guillermo del Toro's name, and then reveals with the Silent Hill theme, Silent Hill and then the S, and that's when you realize, and then it says playable teaser. That's what PT stands for.
That's when you
Yeah,
realize
yeah.
at that point. Oh shit, that's what it stands for. There you go.
Playable teaser for Silent Hills, the canceled project collaboration between Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima. It was going to be great. It was going to be glorious. It was going to have Norman Reedus, his likeness in the game, just like it is at the end, and just like it is in Death Stranding.
But wait, yes, I was getting to that. But wait, there's more. We have more. They did not fail completely. Unfortunately, although Kojima did leave Konami, we still have Kojima working on his own with Guillermo del Toro. Actually, I don't think Guillermo del Toro's doing that much in the game. I think more of his likeness is just being used.
Yeah.
I don't think
okay.
he's actually helping that much, unlike PTE, which he did help a lot with. But of course, Norman Reedus' likeness will be used again. Mads Mikkelsen, they have some good people in that one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool, man.
If I recall, the manga, great horror manga creator Junji Ito was actually tied to this game, and he was supposed to be making some of the creature designs, which, if you're familiar with his work, would have been absolutely magnificent.
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
cool.
he has come up with some of the most disturbing shit in manga. You know, like Uzumaki, Gyo, Tokyo Fish Attack, fucking the Curious Case of Amigara Fault. It's like, I mean, he would have really made some Silent Hill monsters that would have been almost transcendental.
Oh,
I
bet.
It would have been amazing.
That's good. Yeah, well, we got 8 days till Death Stranding comes out.
I know.
That's going to be so much fun. We're going to do a podcast review on that, too. So we've got, we're going to give ourselves a little bit of time to play it, and we'll get an episode on that one.
Yeah. So that's Kojima working outside of Konami. So originally, PT and Silent Hills, as it was supposed to be, were published by Konami. And then Kojima, of course, left the company. Apparently, there's some bad blood going on. I'm not sure. There are some theories out there that the story of PT maybe, it's just a theory, kind of like we were talking about in the Shining episode, you know? Just a game theory that
What's up, Pat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Shout out to that great channel. Anyway, there's a theory that PT, the story of PT, represents the issues that were going on between Kojima and Konami. Ooh. That's per podcast, The Great Debate. Remember that YouTube video we watched?
Yeah.
That's actually a podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they've produced some interesting videos I know on YouTube regarding PT. They're the ones that found what's essentially been the only consistent solution for the final puzzle.
At least they have the most popular video that shows it. They gave credit to people too in the video, like who found it out on like Reddit and whatnot. But they ultimately, made it a good amalgamation of all that and made it together and has an actual quotes final solution. Maybe.
Yeah. So let's walk through PT a little bit. What is PT? I mean, you start in this concrete room,
right?
No direction whatsoever. You walk through the door and find yourself in a hallway, right?
Well, it starts before that. We gotta start over.
Okay.
Well, in the very beginning, what does it say? What did it say on screen? Oh no, I can't remember. I walked through the door. I walked. I could do nothing but walk. No, that was later.
It starts off with some pretty ominous text.
It was.
Honestly. Yeah.
It's always ominous. Every single time there's text, it's completely ominous and it's freaky.
Really, yeah. What story is here is very vague.
Yeah, it's very vague,
very ambiguous.
And there's not much, but there's enough that is intriguing.
My favorite part is kind of the exposition in the beginning. As you walk through the hallway, there's a radio on, talking about a recent familicide. There's a father that killed everybody in the family, and then the radio goes on to mention another
family, which was killed by the father killing all the family with a meat cleaver.
Yes.
I think first was a double barrel shotgun?
Yeah,
something like that.
So apparently nothing can link them except
the fact they were both fathers.
Yeah. So obviously there's something going on. There's kind of this story that's being told on the side. Nothing in your face. It's very implicit. And it really does draw you in. I mean, you can walk right past it and not listen to that radio, but again, that's one of the aspects I like about video games is that sometimes in a game, like you can dig more and find more story. If you happen to pay attention. And PT is kind of one of those games where, especially if you're playing for the first time, like you don't just rush through it. I mean, Dakota and I played so many times now that we kind of do. We know the whole game inside out, but playing it for the first time, like you wander around.
Yeah, you can't just like walk through it. You wander, you do things, you accidentally get jump scared, which happens throughout the game, unfortunately. Yeah. You get jump scared, you look up onto the balcony and you'll see her just standing there at some point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many freaky points. You have to walk through a hallway when she's just standing in the middle there and the light turns off. Like, what do you do when there's a freaking monster in front of you? I mean, how do you do that? How do you take the willpower to walk in front, And it's so crazy with the video game. The willpower to just look inside the door or walk in front and walk right in front of her.
You know what surprises me, actually, is not the jump scares particularly, but just the completely disturbing, unsettling feeling throughout. That no matter how many times I replay this game, I'm still terrified.
Every time, without a fail.
Because at any point, I mean, even the rules within the game that we've kind of come to understand and we know, like, okay, how to avoid the jump scares, whatnot, there's still that element of ambiguity there. That one factor that you feel like, do I know everything? Because there's so many unexplained mysteries about the game. Everything about this game is still kept under wraps to this day. Even like we said, that one solution to the final puzzle is the only consistent solution that's to be found because there is no confirmed solution for the final puzzle. So on that topic, I guess we should ought to explain it a little bit. But in PT, of course, you have the hallway, but you continue to loop throughout the hallway. So at the end of the when you go through the hallway, you go through the door at the end just to find yourself in the exact same hallway.
Right.
So the entire game is played in the same hallway, looping over and over and over. But at certain points, in order to unlock the door to proceed, you have to solve a puzzle.
Right.
They're very vague. They're very subtle.
Yeah, and they usually don't take much effort. I mean, it's usually a little thing, but the problem is that it takes so much effort to figure out what you're supposed to do. And in
Yeah.
the beginning, as you go through, they get a little more difficult. They get very difficult eventually. But there's like hidden clues and stuff. There are actually hidden collectibles in the game, which supposedly, due to the Great Debate's final solution, you have to use those to figure out the final puzzle.
Yeah, they were able to kind of link that together.
All right.
What did
Wow.
you think, Beau?
I thought that the use of the looping hallway was a great set piece, for one. I mean, it really sets up the tension and the horror perfectly.
It's
Right.
right. So it's
Yeah.
like you're
mean-
you're in this room and
Yeah.
you're understanding it. And you're like, okay, I'm familiar with this room, and then you go through it again, and it's changed.
Yeah,
a
there's
little bit.
There's something
a little.
less familiar about it, and then there's doors that don't open, and then randomly they'll open up, and you'll find like the bathroom with the fetus in it.
Fuck that
Like,
shit, dude.
and I love how random it is. I mean, it's actually an example of jump scares used well.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, there's even horror movies that don't even use them like this game uses the jump scares.
Yeah, that's one thing I guess I wanted to ask you. As a horror movie fan,
Well, you have to remember that, especially nowadays, jump scares are kind of looked down upon a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, it's because there's a lot of movies that use them in a very cheap fashion. There's a lot of games that use them in a cheap fashion, but in many ways, when it comes to like a first-person walking simulator or something like this, the jump scares really they're really kind of punctuated a little bit just by the whole experience of having your headphones on, like having that deep sound design and everything.
That's beautiful. The sounds, the surround sound, being able to hear that the door's on your right.
Yeah.
That there is rain coming out the window to your left.
There's perfect panning and everything,
Absolutely.
and spatial design in this soundtrack and everything.
Even in the remastered. I shouldn't have used that word.
It's
The
remade,
remade.
yeah.
Exactly. It almost feels remastered, but you get my point.
Yeah.
You know what I like? I like the simplicity of the game because from the beginning you have pretty much everything that you need for the rest of the game, short of the flashlight you pick up.
Oh yeah.
Kind of towards the beginning. But as far as controls go, you walk, you view things, and that's about it. There's
That's
one
about it.
point in the game where you press the X button, or I guess I should say the cross button,
Yeah.
as it's apparently officially called.
How the hell did they make that a cross button? That's not a cross.
That's
damn
an
it.
X. Anyway, it's very subtle too because you just see, and you guys didn't see this as well in the remade version because they changed it. But in that photograph where it says "gouge it out," most people had no idea what to do. There's a blue X on the picture,
Yeah.
but nobody connected that to pressing the blue X button on the controller.
How did they not figure that out?
It's
That's
very
pretty-
subtle, and nothing
Yeah.
else in the game has controls anywhere. So, really, that's what I like about the game, actually, is that it feels completely realistic.
Right.
And because of the lack of controls, the lack of weapons or anything else you can do,
Right.
I mean, it feels like a simulator. So it really was really a clever puzzle, pressing the X button.
What it is, because
Because you never use it for
anything.
anything else in the game.
Nothing.
It's the only time you use it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's almost like this game is kind of like a horror movie simulator in a way. It was kind
Yeah.
of like the first in a line of games like that, like Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Then you had like Outlast. Then you had a lot of the indie first-person games. Like there's this one where you're in a house and you're surrounded by a bunch of goblins that are trying to get you. The only way to keep them away is light, but there's limited sources of light and everything.
That's kind of like Slenderman a little bit, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot more
Or,
claustrophobic than that.
Insidious, bro.
Insidious. There you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you could definitely see the influence of games like Slender and PT on games like this. Because I mean, in many ways, a lot of the modern horror indie gaming, indie games that are coming out is like it's coming from those two sources mainly. You know,
Yeah.
maybe that and maybe Amnesia. Like
Yeah,
those
I
are
would
like
agree.
those are like the three pillars of modern horror
Oh,
indie
yeah,
gaming
absolutely.
right now is PT, Amnesia, and Slender.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And I've seen that. I think Amnesia's on VR, isn't it?
I think it is.
I believe
yeah.
I've seen that on VR, and that's one I want to get into eventually.
So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the word claustrophobic.
Oh yeah, that is a very key feeling
Yeah.
in this game. It's ridiculous. I mean, during the whole entire thing, you're walking through this. Well, you start over. You're in a concrete room in the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a table in there, and there's a cockroach on the ground. And you stand up. I mean, you guys saw the remade edition, so all over the walls was a bunch of writing and stuff. But imagine there's nothing there. Okay, you're in
Yeah.
a blank room,
Yeah.
and you don't know what to do. You don't get controls on the screen. You don't get to told anything. You just hear a voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can press the pause menu, and you can change the brightness. But that's about all you can do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so
Yeah.
you walk through the door, and you're in a whole new world. You don't know what's going on. You go through the hallway because nothing happens, and you're back in the same room. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like the
It's-
first time you do that, you don't know what's going on. You think you're gonna.
Yeah.
You don't exactly.
That surprised me. That part of the experience was not spoiled for me the first time I played.
Agreed.
And what I really like is, yeah, that feeling of claustrophobia, because it almost tricks you into this sense of familiarity, but at the same time, it's every few levels it changes.
Right. See, I gotta say, you showed me this game, and you did a really good job of not letting me know anything because
I
you
tried not
you
to.
knew, and I would have done the same thing. So that was good. That was well done.
Was it cool seeing Norman Reedus at the end? Because I know you're a fan of The Walking
Oh yeah,
Dead.
I knew that. Dude, I was awesome. And when I saw that, I remembered at that moment that I saw something online at one point about Norman Reedus being a game, but I didn't know, and I didn't make that connection. You said that, and that was when you showed me that, and I saw him on the screen. And that was awesome, dude.
Yeah, yeah. What a great reveal. What a fantastically kept secret.
I walked. I could do nothing but walk. And then I saw me walking in front of myself. But it wasn't really me. Watch out. The gap in the door. It's a separate reality. The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you?
But yeah, the PT. I love the puzzles as well because, like I said, it's very subtle, very vague. Sometimes you're not even quite sure that you found what was the intended solution.
Right. Yeah, you don't even know. I mean, there's points where at the very end you do that last puzzle, and like the video was saying. I guess you haven't seen the video, but there's a video on this game by the Great Debate, and I would definitely recommend that because it really explains everything.
It's kind of my part of my experience of showing people PT is showing the video too,
Right.
because it kind of helps explain. Because the process of the final solution, which again has not been confirmed,
Right.
it's very obscure. What we know is that you have to you want the phone to ring. I want to say, actually, before I go into that, so obscure in fact that people didn't find it right away. I mean, it's kind of a hidden ending for
Oh yeah.
ever. Players wandered around.
It was just a loop.
Yeah, and you thought that was the end. The game just continued to loop after that, and that was it, right? After kind of the whole glitchy part of the game where the game crashes and goes back to the beginning.
Right. It makes you think that at least.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that finally, once the solution was found, people still didn't know quite how to trigger it. But what we do know is that you got to get the phone to ring. When the phone rings and you get the voice, you've been chosen, you can walk out the door, and that's whenever you can leave and you trigger the final cutscene. The thing with that, though, is that in order to get the phone to ring, we know you have to hear the fetus in the sink laugh 3 times.
Right.
So you have to you have to wait for the clock to chime midnight, which throughout the rest of the game it's 23:59. Remember?
Oh yeah, no. In the entire game, you go and you walk to that first door, and right as you walk through the first door, you see a hallway, and you look to your right as you walk a few steps, and you see a clock, 23:59.
Yeah,
is
that
the time.
digital clock saying 23:59.
Each time you walk through that hallway, that's kind of the first reminder of oh crap, this is the same hallway,
Yeah.
because like you see that clock at the same time.
Yeah, so it's 0:00, right? So it's midnight. You start to walk forward 10 steps, stop. You hear the baby laugh the first time. Okay.
You stay still. You don't do anything. You keep your controller absolutely still. And then you say the name Jareth, right? Or does that happen after?
No, you say Jareth in the microphone, and then
That's
the baby
right.
laughs the second time. Well, supposedly. Some
Right.
people say that they could trigger it by using J, other names. There's other ways also to trigger the second baby laugh, like by supposedly going after Lisa, going towards her, and
Right.
trying to find her during a haunting. But either way, you get the second baby laugh, which is really the one part everyone's confused about, though isn't quite sure how to trigger. And then you have to stay completely still. The controller vibrates. And then you
Get a third baby laugh, and then the phone rings.
Yeah. What's interesting is that I like the way that video we watched was able, by the Great Debate, was able to connect that with the hidden pictures.
Right.
What's really cool, guys, and this part, Beau and Robert, I don't think you guys got to see, is that throughout the game there's these collectibles. There's
Yeah.
these little pieces of pictures throughout, and they're hidden. And you zoom in on it, and it kind of pops up showing that you found something. So if you do it by accident, you're kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you don't. You just see random words on the screen, often in a different language. I think there's one or two in English.
Yeah.
There's also one in the pause menu. Actually, it's a secret hidden one, and that's the I think there's like 13 total or something like that. Or
That's
9,
my
8 or
favorite
something,
one.
9. Yeah.
Though, is the final collectible in the game is you pause and you zoom in using R3.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's actually a picture within the pause menu
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
have to find.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. I've also heard reports, it's never happened to me, but I've heard that in the pause menu you're not necessarily safe.
Oh shit.
And that like Lisa can jump scare you, I think, as soon as you get out. Lisa's the ghost that haunts you, that supposedly was killed by the husband, and you kind of get these hints that she had the fetus kind of ripped out of her or something.
So he was tearing her apart.
Ah, that's good.
Ding! Okay, we did our room
We
reference.
did our reference. There you go.
Also fucked up the mics there when we all laughed at the same time. but,
Oh,
whatever.
whatever.
worth
It's,
it.
it's all good.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that part that was okay, but yeah. So Lisa haunts you. Lisa's like the spirit, the freaky ghost lady that maybe rapes you after she
Something
kills
like
you.
that. You hear some unzipping and some sloshing, so I don't know what goes on there.
We think it sounds like sex, but
yeah.
she gets you. She haunts you. What's really interesting is that there's a particular puzzle in the game, the gouge it out puzzle, with the
Yes.
X, where most people pretty much are predisposed to failing that puzzle, looping around and getting auto possessed and killed by Lisa.
And that's pretty much how you figure it out too, because you see Lisa attack you and you see she has one eye. And you're like, oh, gouge it out. Because you're supposed to fail that one. That's kind of that they're supposed to make you fail. You see her, she attacks you, you realize it, gouge it out, you poke it out. You know, that's part of the puzzle.
Yeah, it makes more sense after that. And yeah, it's just completely terrifying. I mean,
yeah.
that's a jump scare, like you said, that's used well.
Yeah, it is.
I like the random appearances of Lisa too, the scripted appearances that really make you freak out for a second,
Well, yeah, you'll walk through a hallway in one of them in the very beginning. I mean, third or fourth time you're going through the hallway, and you'll just look through the hallway and you'll see her just standing there.
Yeah.
And then the light goes off and you have to walk towards it. Walk towards her. How the hell?
And you also, I think the first time you see her is when the bathroom door opens up slightly.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to look in there. You have to in order to proceed. And suddenly she closes the door. You see her.
Well, it starts off with you walking to the door, and then you almost get to the door, and then it shuts on you, the outside door, to leave.
Yeah.
And and you're like,
yeah,
crap.
Yeah.
And so you
Slowly
turn around
while you're walking towards it,
and then
it's
you hear the door shut, and then you hear another door open. And you're like, okay, the front door maybe? You walk up to the front door shut still, you're like, hell. And then you can see the bathroom door cracked open, and you use your viewing option, which is R3, or, and you can see her face, and she shuts the door real quickly, and you hear the baby crying and shit, and it's creepy.
Yeah, the audio on the baby crying was really, really creepy and really well done.
Absolutely.
It was well-
like it's on a baby monitor or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it so creepy?
That's what it sounded like. It sounded exactly like a baby monitor.
You know what? It's really even more haunting to me now as a parent because, I hear my baby cry or laugh
fuck,
or
dude.
whatever, and it just it's very unsettling, and that just kind of adds to the whole creepy atmosphere. I like the one part where you go in the bathroom and then the fetus in the sink actually talks to you in a deep man's voice.
Yeah.
And it's coming from the point of view of this character's son that the unborn child, right?
That's the implication there.
Wow.
And
Interesting. What about the bag with the heart in it? I guess heart, some kind of organ in it, assumedly a heart.
I think that's you. Because
Yeah.
that bag first talks to you usually whenever you die for the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
It also can be triggered after the glitchy crash.
Right. Yeah.
So, and when you wake up in the room. So the idea is that I think the implication is that that's you.
Wow. That's
Because maybe some of those sounds that Lisa's making is like maybe cutting off something, or I don't know.
right.
Oh yeah.
That's what's
yeah.
left of you in the bloody bag. And the words in and of themselves are really important because he says, I walked. I could do nothing but walk, which is what you do in the game. You could do nothing but walk. You keep walking.
Right.
And then I saw me walking in front of myself. The gap in the door, it's a separate reality. It's talking about the door
Yep.
at the end and then entering. So every time you loop, that's a separate
Separate
reality. And
Wow.
and I see myself I saw myself walking in front. That's showing, the looping nature and the idea of
Yes.
of coming around and around. So I'm pretty sure that bloodied bag is a previous version of you.
The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you?
Exactly.
Oh wow.
That has
No
to be
way.
what that's hinting at.
That's a
And-
good point.
Yeah, it's really cool to kind of like dig into this game and dissect. Now that the game has been canceled, Silent Hills, I'd really like to know what was planned and how much of PT's plot and gameplay really had any relevance.
Yeah,
to that.
that's actually what I was going to ask. It's like, how much of this teaser do you think really was a portent to what was going to be in the game? I mean, what do you think this game would have been like? It was obviously going to be going off of more familial themes and everything, obviously.
Yeah.
Even more so than other Silent Hill games. And those games, I mean, family is pretty much kind of intrinsic to quite a few of those. Like, if I remember that one Homecoming one, like it had
the one that was on like Wii.
yeah.
See,
It's like
I
it
would
kinda had
I
a
would
theme like
hope
that.
if they were to do this Silent Hills, if they were to continue it, I
Yeah.
would hoped for like that interesting, hard to figure out. You have to use your head shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's some cool stuff. I mean, that is
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, looking at the video I watched and how they figured that out, like imagine figuring that out. And it doesn't have to be that crazy. I mean, the way they put it together was almost like a conspiracy theory, but it works. You know, it works. So what do you do when it works?
Yeah, right.
It's
Damn.
a little far-fetched, but it works consistently, so something is right. Maybe the means to get there aren't. Maybe it's not Jareth. Maybe it's some kind of J
Right.
name of some kind. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right though, because there's those collectibles. And
Yeah.
the collectibles give you the words and they tell you. So that is true. But so far as the Jareth part, that's still under suspicion.
Yeah.
yeah, it's odd. It's almost hard to deny because it all does kind of seem to piece together.
But the 7780 studio, I mean, they have a point. Like, what's the point of it?
Yeah.
Why the trees? Why the 204863? Why even listen to the radio voice at all? What does that have to do with anything?
You know what one of my favorite parts of the game is? I'm glad you mentioned the radio voice. When you look, and this is right around the time that you're pretty much set up to get jump scared.
Right.
Almost certainly is you're looking at the radio, and then you're listening. It's just talking about the story, and then suddenly it cuts. It gets like, "Don't touch that dial now. We're just getting started," and then and it goes back to the radio, whatever, and then it goes, "Look behind you."
I said, look behind you.
And at that point, if you're auto possessed by Lisa and you try to quickly push, you try to quickly turn back around like 180. That's a real easy way to trigger the jump scare. Essentially, the way it works and the way the mechanics work is that Lisa, if you encounter Lisa, and if you're playing through the game not as quickly as we did, but just kind of exploring, you'll see this a lot more often. If you encounter Lisa at any point during the game, and you come towards her, she can rush you, right? When she does, she possesses you, and you'll know that she's possessing you because there'll be a few triggers. You'll hear her extra high heel, because if you notice she's only wearing the one high heel.
Right.
You'll hear that extra high heel clobbering behind your footsteps.
Now you'll hear 3 steps instead of the normal 2 as you walk. You'll hear.
You'll hear her breathing like on your neck.
Oh, it's so bad.
And if you look at like the shadow, you'll see her like
glitching behind you.
glitchy.
You can
body
do it
shadow.
in the
Yeah.
mirror, the window where you can see outside. You can see her behind you there. She's behind you at that point.
Yeah, it's really creepy. So there's a few cues to know. When you're possessed, the idea is try to move through the hallway as quickly as possible and loop, because once you're possessed at any point that and then there's a few ways to trigger it. I think if you stay still too long, if you move too quickly, like turn around, she can get you. And then, like I said, if you fail that puzzle at that one point, they gouge it out, it'll actually automatically possess you. That's the part where it's almost kind of scripted. And I feel like that's the point where most players usually get scared for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And get killed. And once she gets you, when I say she jump scares you, it's game over. Her face is suddenly in your face, and you drop down on the ground, and she makes some sloshing noises, and then you show back up in the concrete
Now,
room.
what do you think those sloshing noises are? What do you think she's doing to you?
Well, there's multiple theories. I mean, obviously.
Fellatio?
Yeah, that's what we were thinking at
Ew.
first, of course.
Maybe she
Ew,
hops on that
gross.
dick. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. I'm just saying.
We
What?
correlated that maybe, because of the bag, like we said earlier, you might have some organs ripping out. I don't know what it is. Maybe she's, you're giving her a baby. I don't know what it is, but
I don't know what people do.
I don't know what people do.
Is it would it really be outside of Kojima to put that sexual
Oh God, no.
element in there?
Oh, of course not. Man.
So the
know what I'm
unzipping,
saying?
I mean, that was intentional. There's an intentional zzz sound.
oh yeah,
Flop. I think I heard
definitely.
a flop.
I heard a slosh, a flop.
A flop.
I heard
Yeah.
something, dude.
Trousers.
Damn it.
I don't know. That's what it fucking sounds like.
That is exactly what it sounds like. I'm not even kidding.
But yeah, I
Damn
mean,
it.
hey, the ghosts need that dick too, right?
I guess so.
Well, she's
I mean,
just
Norman
lonely.
Reedus. I mean, how do you say no to that, right?
She probably wants to be skull fucked.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Wow, dude.
Yeah, she's got an
really?
eyeball missing. I mean, you can do that already.
See, there you go. It's set up.
It's perfect. It's not coincidence. It's perfect.
Gouge it out.
No, can't be a coincidence ever.
It's terrible.
Oh my god.
This is why we can't have nice games.
There's some really memorable moments in the game. One that I like is where the game sort of deviates from the looping hallway in the kind of the nightmare scene, where
Dream
the
sequence.
screen goes red, like the dream sequence, right? And the hallway isn't quite right. You run abnormally fast. Your field of vision is distorted. It's completely red. And,
All the pictures are eyeballs.
and the hallway doesn't loop around the normal way it does. When you go around the corner, it's all weird. It still loops, but it's a much longer loop, and it's several turns.
Yeah, it's a longer loop. It's several turns. It's some hallways. It's the same hallways, but some are flipped, some are reversed, some are turned at a weird angle, so you can't tell it's the same hallway before. But it's all the same, right angle. It's just used at different turns.
Yeah, and what I like is that when you go in the bathroom at one point in the game, you can look and you can see like a hole in the wall, right? And if you look and it almost looks like you see kind of an eyeball in there. It's really weird.
It is weird.
Oh, yeah.
I also like in the
yeah.
bathroom when you look in the mirror and it just barely obscures the character's face.
Oh yeah, you can see the body. You can see their arms. You can see their chest area, but you can't see their face. Not quite.
But one of my favorite parts is so anyway, so you see that peephole, right? So then you come around during the nightmare sequence and you can see the picture move to the ground, and you can look through the peephole and like you actually kind of like witness a murder. You don't see it, but you hear it. It's right there. The remake we watched even added kind of like a blood splatter effect,
Right.
Oh wow.
that wasn't originally there. And then when you went in the bathroom, showed like the headless Lisa body, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
which was a nice touch.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, so that wasn't in the original PT.
No, the blood and the body in the tub were not originally there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was added in.
So just in case for some reason you played the PT emulator that we found, you'll see that.
Yeah, but yeah, oh my god, it's freaky. The original and the remake. And the remake, I gotta say, did a really good job. I mean, it's not quite as polished, but
It captured the essence.
and the assets, I mean, that they use look almost identical.
Oh yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
I like
yeah.
some of the additions and modifications that were made too. I thought they were well placed. There's some extra ambient noises, and then there's like some additions, like we mentioned, like the body in the tub, and it's
The
all a
baby
nice
looks
touch.
a little bit different. The baby doesn't move. The bag doesn't move. Little different.
That's where it's a little less polished.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really good, well done emulator. But yeah, PT guys, what are our final thoughts on this? What do you think, Beau?
I think that this is one of the more interesting horror games I've ever seen. And just to think that it was just a playable teaser for a bigger franchise. I mean, there's just still so much about this game that people just don't know about. Like you said, this may not have a final solution to it at all. There may not be an actual end to it.
Yeah, and I really like how there's still things to this day that are unexplained about this game.
Yeah, it's almost like an anomaly. I mean, and it's really And it's really where games started to kind of really take an artistic edge, like especially in the horror genre.
Oh, for
You know?
sure, for sure.
And it's kind of paralleling the renaissance of like full-scale artistic horror in filmmaking as well. You know, there's lots of really interesting stuff coming out of the independent scene, you know.
Especially from Robert Ortegon, right? Killing
Yeah,
Night.
there you go.
Oh,
what
shit.
did I do? No.
Produced a film, directed and produced,
Direct,
produced,
wrote, starred,
Yeah.
starred.
All the
yeah.
above. Are you Tommy Wiseau now?
maybe
You Tommy Wiseau?
Tommy. No,
I'm Tommy.
just when nobody hires you, you make your own thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
go.
Exactly, bro.
What do you think, Dakota?
Oh god, this game has so much potential. I'm really upset to see that this was not only removed from the PS4 store, but the game that it was supposed to become was just dropped. It was really upsetting because this could have been so much more. But you know what? I gotta say, I am so hyped for Death Stranding because of this game. This game is the reason I am hyped for Death Stranding, and I know Kojima. He can make a good game, and he will. And this
Yeah.
will be Game of the Year. It'll be fucking amazing. I promise.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the Metal Gear series, and in particular that Kojima is behind, is very very telling of
Oh yeah.
the kind of crazy twists that he makes. I'll put it this way: this is a man whose idea was to have a video game boss break the fourth wall and tell you what's on your memory card.
Oh, man. Good old Psycho Mantis.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
If I have, that's terrifying. That this man really thinks outside the box, and supposedly, Death Stranding is basically what he compares to the difference between like the rope, as an invention.
Wow.
And so this is kind of how this game is taking, in a way, how Metal Gear was kind of before stealth games came out to find its own genre. This game supposedly is supposed to, and it kind of seems to have some of those elements in there. We've got Norman Reedus back. Guillermo del Toro is in there as a motion capture, but I don't think he's doing any writing. The baby, the idea of this that kind of theme with the baby is back because you've got this like baby that's with you all the time.
Oh, what?
So it's really creepy. So I'm really excited about that. But anyway, final thoughts on PT. This game really introduced me, I think, to horror games as a whole, and it's really got me on. Like I want to play more horror games, especially want to check out like the Silent Hill series.
Absolutely. I've seen Silent Hill and I believe the second one, and fantastic movies, dude. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, the movies. I remember seeing the first movie in theaters, and
Oh yeah.
it wasn't really half bad,
No.
to tell the truth.
It wasn't that bad, dude. They're fun. The games, I have not played any of the games. The movies were based off the games, right? They were first.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I'm not.
The
getting
games
my
were
thing-
first.
Yeah.
Same thing
What
with
are the games
Resident Evil.
All right. Yeah. Same thing.
But yeah, no, I'm super stoked for Death Stranding. PT, it's a love of mine. Like I remember it so fondly, and I'm glad that we found a way to play it now. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, it's been a really long while, but we still get it, and we got it, and we get the same feel
But
no matter what.
What I love, Dakota, is how easily we remembered how to get through the game still.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I do have on record, I do have a playthrough of my original playthrough of PT with commentary. Not my original, but a playthrough I have with commentary. It was produced several years ago, so don't judge. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there for free as kind of our let's play commentary
There you go.
for this game because I have it already. So I'll throw that together and put it out sometime, either now or after I finish the other commentaries. I may finish those first, but we'll put it out there. I'm really excited for the rest of the season of Collateral Gaming, and I'm really excited that we're here for this Halloween episode. Are you guys excited for Halloween?
Oh, always. I mean, I'm just going to watch lots of horror movies, like especially when I get home. Like it's almost 3 a.m. right now, and I'm still going to stay up another couple of hours. I'm just going to watch horror
Yeah, mind
films.
you, it is 3:00 in the morning on Thursday, October 31st. It
Fuck
doesn't.
yeah.
It just
Yeah.
turned Halloween 3 hours ago.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Happy Halloween.
Halloween, everybody. Woo.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So hopefully I'll have this episode out on the same day. I'll put it together. I've got to work tomorrow. I'm not excited about it, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, look forward to Collateral Gaming. Our next episode's going to be Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, so excited.
That was a pretty huge game, right? That came out. I mean, I've seen my brother has that game, and I've seen him play it, and it was pretty intricate.
Oh,
Like-
it's mind blowing. I'm having a lot of fun with that game. So that's coming out next. Look forward to some of the other stuff that's coming out this season. We mentioned Death Stranding, so that is an episode we're coming out. We'll be producing that probably around December because we want to give ourselves at least a month to play the game.
Absolutely. We need a lot of time. I'm gonna be so excited. It comes out in 8 days. I'm counting down, dude.
And Collateral Gaming, you can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on all social media channels. We are on, Twitter, of course. We're trying to be more active on there. Facebook, Instagram. We all have our own social media accounts. Also, follow Collateral Cinema. Beau, do you want to promo a little bit?
Oh, yes. We are going to be doing our first indie episode of the season. And like we said on the Shining episode, it's going to be mostly selections from the First Glance Film Festival who contacted us. And we're going to go ahead and format, I think it's going to be a mega review. We're going to do like 4 movies in one episode. We're going to try not to make it too long, but, we're going to give every movie at least a little bit of scrutiny and everything.
There you go.
And we have some interesting selections so far. Like I said, one of them is a documentary about the fans of boy bands and everything, I believe, which will be interesting. And some other short films that honestly will be a lot of fun to review and everything. So, yeah, look forward for that. And check us out on Twitter as well, at C Cinema Podcast. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. I'm super stoked to get on that episode of Collateral Cinema. For any listeners that don't know, that's our other movie podcast and actually our parent. That's where this all spun out of.
Yep.
So Collateral Cinema's out. It's actually a little bit bigger. We're at over 4,000 downloads or almost there.
4,064 downloads last time I checked.
4,000. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
I'm really glad about that. So if you haven't checked out Collateral Cinema's Halloween episode, which the 4 of us are on, Beau.
We talked about the
Actually,
Shining.
no, Dakota is not on.
No, he's there.
Little fucker.
Damn it,
He's
Dakota.
there in spirit, remember?
Oh yeah, he was there in
God damn
spirit.
it. I heard y'all talk shit about me.
Oh, we didn't talk shit. It was with love, bro.
It was with love.
I'm just
It was
kidding.
with love.
I'm just kidding.
If you haven't listened to the Shining episode, go check that out on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts at. Stay tuned for the rest of Collateral Cinema Season 3 and Collateral Gaming Season 2.
Woohoo! This is it, dude.
Yep.
So that being said, I'm Smashley Ashley.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
I'm Maddox of
You
Maddoxon.
It doesn't
You
work
get
that
to
way.
steal my joke, Beau.
I don't give a fuck. I'm stealing it anyway.
This is Collateral Gaming, and we are out.
out.
It's our show, Bo.
Dad was such a drag. Every day he'd eat the same kind of food, dress the same, sit in front of the same kind of games. Yeah, he was just that kind of guy. But then one day he goes and kills us all. He couldn't even be original about the way he did it. I'm not complaining. I was dying of boredom anyway. But guess what? I will be coming back, and I'm bringing my new toys with me.
Collateral Gaming is an L Company production. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators, are used for educational purposes only, and are fair use. Please don't sue us. We're poor.
There's a guy above you. There's a guy above you.
Night, night, sunshine.
There's a guy below you. There's a guy below you.